I realized the root cause of almost any problem within my life was the smartphone. Because I guarantee anything you want that's on your phone right now, you do not need. There are thousands of reasons why I love switching to a flip phone and why it has honestly made my life so much better. And we're going to get into all of that today. Because when you really think about it, we don't need smartphones. You got to ask yourself, why has it become so socially acceptable now when you're walking down the street to see everybody on their phones? Like, why is it so socially acceptable to, just be on your phone all day? Whenever you go to class, anything you do, I guarantee it's a fact that there's no place you can go on earth without even seeing people going on their phones. And in this video, I'm going to tell you why I made the switch and why you can too. Because what held me back actually from making a switch a while ago was a number of different factors I'm going to get into, but I'm going to tell you today that you can do it. Yeah, after making the switch to a flip phone, I'm never ever going back. It has everything you need. It's functional, and it's really also a personal decision. You will see tremendous change in your life just going to a flip phone, and what you'll see is something that is just ordinary. Going back to normal, how it was in 2016, if you've seen all those edits of, 2016 was so great, or all those nostalgic moments. What's in common with all those nostalgic moments? You don't have a phone. And, our parents are right. It really is the phone. It doesn't make you feel good. Even if you still have Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok right now, I know there is a feeling inside of you that's saying, I really don't like this and I don't want this. Because we frankly have become zombies to our phones, and, the companies behind that, they realize this as well. All of these, big platforms like Instagram and TikTok, it's an attention economy. The Patreon CEO said, and I'll put it down in the description below for a link to that video, but he said it himself that the amount of time spent on social media is no longer catching up with your friends. That's minimal. Now it's all about promoting content and pushing a content to you. Now, what really, really caused me to make the switch was one day I finally realized how behind I had gotten in my classes, and I stayed up super late into the night journaling, reflecting, what is the main cause? Why did this happen? And you're also probably thinking now, what has life been like without a smartphone in university, or just as a person? And what are some good ones to get? But I'll get to that in just a moment. I realized the root cause of almost any problem within my life was the smartphone. For example, going to bed late, going to bed at 2 a.m., 3 a.m., 4 a.m., that doesn't happen without the phone. It's always because you're in bed, you're scrolling, and it's really the convenience of it, which is a key, super important factor. Because convenience is not your friend. The fact that you can just pull this super intelligent device just out of your pocket and so easily start scrolling and start getting lost in that is so bad for you. So bad for you, because you need to bring intention back to your life. Harvard recently said as well, you need to have more boring moments, because in those boring moments, you are thinking to yourself again. And how can you have those boring moments? How can you have those retrospective moments if every second of the day you're consuming? The short form content is a cancer to society, because it's not intentional. It doesn't add any value in the long term. If you see millions of shorts every day, millions of reels, TikToks, what does that lead to? Basically, upon this analysis where I was saying what happened in my life that I'm so behind on schoolwork now and my life is not on track. It narrows down to the phone. I'm a big believer, and it says in Matthew 30, if your hand causes you to sin, cut it off. And that's what I did, because it was through scrolling, and it was also what young men go through in this day and age, which is lust. Switching to a flip phone reclaims this intention and attention within your life, because all of these things that you think you need, you really don't. For example, social media. I had an Instagram account where, there was plenty of people on there who I spoke to, and I collected, their Instagram and their contact through Instagram over the course of switching to different schools or different clubs. And in reality, those people don't really care about you. So what I did is I posted on my story right before I deleted it, and I said, permanently deleting all social media. If you want to stay in touch, then, send me your number and we can stay in contact. Everyone who I wanted to stay in contact with, I already had their phone number. All those thousands of people, or all those, likes you're getting on your photo dump from the summer, that doesn't matter at all. On Instagram, only one person responded. It was actually a Romanian friend. And I said, bro, you already have my phone number. And he's like, oh yeah, I forgot. But then on Snapchat, then I had much more people. I think it was 10 or something people. And then I also reached out, because that was people from high school or university, but mainly high school and back home. And yeah, if you want to stay in contact with people, you don't need Instagram. Because think about how convenience is not your friend again. One of the ways I used to stay in touch with my friends is I would just spam them reels all day. But that doesn't mean anything. Like, you can't go up to them and be like, hey, remember the 87th reel I sent you? Now you have the contacts of the people you want to stay in touch with, so you can call them. And that's what the purpose of a phone was. It was to call. Switching to a flip phone can take control back your life because you're more intentional. This is why I also love Sunbeam. This is when I was researching. This is the one I ended up getting, is because I said, okay, I don't want to scroll at all. So that means I don't want any access to the internet. And a crucial factor was I don't want an app store. I want to burn all the bridges. Matthew 5:30. If your hand causes you to sin, cut it off. There's no going back. And this is what people don't really talk about when they say, 30-day detox or this. That implies that you're going to go back to those bad habits that were destroying your life. So what's the point of doing that if you're just going to go back? It doesn't make any sense. You want to have a permanent change, a permanent good change. And, over time, you're going to get this dopamine of saying, that was a great decision. And then your days are going to get longer. For me, I was spending more than 4 hours a day on my phone, or up to 6 sometimes, 6 or 7. That accumulates throughout the year, right? That's 20 or 30 or 60 days that you just gain just like this for free, just instantly, because you switch to a flip phone. If you guys are looking to get one, the Sunbeam is a great phone. Because when I was researching, I said, yeah, no app store, no internet. I only want stuff that I need. Yeah, so it has a clock, it has contacts, messaging. Here, I can show you guys. Let me show you. Not sure if you can see that. So you can freeze frame that. You only have apps that you need. There's not a single distraction. It's the perfect phone. And on the website too as well. I'll link it down below for you guys. You can customize which of these you want. you have full control over it. You know, it's not like Instagram where it just updates, you know, every millisecond. And it's like, whoop, you just lost, you know, 10 gigabytes of privacy or whatever. Now, this gives you more time to be immersed back into the world. Now, in those boring moments, you can call a friend, you can call a family member. You know, instead of going to scroll, you can send someone a message you haven't spoken to. You know, good luck on that exam, or, you know, say, you know, thank you for this, or, you know, was just thinking about you. Here's a nice song. Now, one thing that was also making me stay with my smartphone for a bit, and what was limiting me from switching over, was Uber. Because in my mind back then, I said, oh, this is a necessity. No, it's not. It's a convenience. I needed Uber because I would be late, stay up late because of the phone. I would wake up so late, close to class, where the only way to get on time would be to Uber instead of taking the bus, instead of walking. When you have an app like Uber, it's never out of necessity. It's always like in the expectation that, you know, you're going to sleep in and you're going to have no time. So you need this, but you don't. It's all in the mind. And feel free as well to say, you know, I really want to switch to a flip phone, but I can't do it because of this. And I'll be free to speak with you, because I guarantee anything you want that's on your phone right now, you do not need. For example, you want to be entertained? How are you watching this video? You know, you can go still on your laptop. You can download apps on your laptop. You know, if you want to watch content, you can go on YouTube. You know, you can pick up a book, get back into reading. Yeah, and in this boring time that you have now that you're not scrolling, you learn to think again. Maybe it's not switching to a flip phone that's going to be the fix for you. You know, maybe it goes deeper than that. You know, for example, once I switched out of the phone and went to a flip phone, I said to myself, great, you know, I'm never going to scroll again, or I'm never going to lust again. But that's not true. There's also an element of it that's in your mind. So switching to it won't solve every problem, but, you know, it'll be a great catalyst, because, you know, your eyes are the entryway into your heart. You're making a conscious separation. So next time you say, oh, I want to go watch content, or I want to do this, you have to physically open your laptop, type in a password, and spend more time thinking, why? Why am I doing this? Truly, what really helps is honestly just faith in Jesus. And I don't think I could have done it without that, because then, you know, I would have said, you know, I have perfect control of my life. I've never made a mistake. And, you know, I'm just going to keep on scrolling until 4 a.m. and not doing my homework, and, you know, and lusting 24/7. You know, there's a point in life when you need to say, what am I doing? And you can make a conscious change. There are people who have thought about this. Maybe stepping back into flip phones is the movement that we should have. And maybe it should be more socially acceptable to have a flip phone than a smartphone. And also, I would like to point out as well, with Uber and with this Maps, you actually become smarter without a phone, because not having to rely on it means that when you're going somewhere, you have to go on your laptop and search Google Maps, how to get from here to here, and then say, okay, I memorized, I need to go left there and 200 meters and then go there and there, and you'll be perfectly fine. Also, this phone as well, one time I got lost as well, and it does have maps. So it's honestly beautiful. It has a cool, also, I'm not sure if you noticed, it's camo. So you can take it off. I just got that because it was cool. And you can also, you know, if you really want to show some swag, you can buckle this into your belt. And then it just attaches like that. I'd like to say, you know, a nice thank you to Sunbeam for sponsoring this video. Because, you know, this is a company that's thought about this. They make it possible for you to make this step in your life. Because when you go and you get the flip phone, it's quality, and you can choose what do you want to have on your phone. So you're in control, and it's beautiful. It's been a phenomenal experience. So yeah, I'd like to thank them for sponsoring this video. if you'd like to switch to a Sunbeam phone, go down in the link below and you can see it for yourself. Maybe your phone being a 7-in-1 or an 18-in-1 device isn't really good. Maybe you should, get a phone, get a camera, get an alarm clock, so that each one of those devices has a purpose and assigned purpose to it. That's phenomenally works well with studying as well. You say, okay, when I turn this lamp on, I'm studying, or when I do this, I'm doing that. How can you know for a fact that you won't be distracted on your phone when your phone has 10,000 environments on it as well? So yeah, that's something that I found in my mind that I personally had to switch. And here's the secret, is that it all starts into the mind. You just got to turn the idea into reality, into action. So the second you say, I'm going to make the switch, you're going to do it. Because then otherwise you're going to watch this video and you're going to say, maybe I should make the switch to a flip phone today. And you never will, because you didn't today. Because each moment when you say, I'm going to do this tomorrow, there is a common saying, there is no tomorrow. But if you think about it logically, what is tomorrow? You're still going to be having the same 5 senses, God willing. You'll still be seeing an environment. So the difference between today and tomorrow, if I'm in the same spot here, there's nothing. I'm still looking everywhere. I'm still acting. It's just a conscious decision. So when you say, I'm going to postpone this decision to do it then, you're doing that with this exact same headspace. There's nothing else that's changed, because in those 5 days, there's no change at all. Even if you say, I'll make the switch in 2 years, I'll get my life back on track in 5 years, 10 years. And then, you know what? We all have our limitations in life. So the best time to start is right now, because the future will look just the same as you. Even if it's going to be a great sci-fi world as well, you'll still be observing it in the very same way. You'll still be walking with your 2 feet. You'll still be realizing that I'm breathing through my nose right now. So it's all really a conscious decision. And yeah, I strongly encourage you to make that switch today. If you've been thinking about switching to a flip phone, you should do it, and permanently. So, if you want to try, you can go do that detox. But just remember, when you do that 30-day or that, a small challenge, that's really all it is. It's a challenge. It's not a new way of life. You guys are going to love what's coming up. I'm going to be doing 2 podcasts a month and 2 of these thoughtful videos as well, of just thoughts I wanted to get outside of my head. It is going to be phenomenal, doing it for you guys, for the believers that they think, I can change, I can do that, because it all starts in the mind. We work towards it, but there's only one man above Jesus Christ that determines our faith. So, are you a believer? And let me know, because I would like to touch on other topics as well, like why no one should produce short form content as well. Because I've deleted my TikTok page, my Instagram, deleted the shorts from this channel. Who cares if it's going to take longer to, grow? I don't have short form content, because that doesn't add any benefit to anybody's life. It's just, taking out a second of their day. But if they sit down to watch like a long episode like this, or, a long podcast, good on you, because that is a thoughtful investment, and you are going far in life. Other than subscribing, I do truly believe that you can make the switch to a flip phone permanently, and any reason that you think is dragging you back is honestly, it's all in the mind. So write down below, what is holding you back? What is holding you back? What is holding you back? If you're distracted every moment of the day, what does it mean to be alive?